Have you seen this viral video? I'm sure you probably have by now. If you haven't, you're in for a treat. This is something that we're going to see more of, I think. But this lady here is standing her ground because, well, I can only assume that she's tired of being told that she's evil because she's white. Now, this video is going to have some bleeped out words because YouTube won't let me play it the way that it is. I found this on Twitter a few days ago. So let's dive into this. We'll take a look at the whole situation, or at least try to take a look at more of the situation than just what we see here in this video.
You call him a nigger, the child? Did you call the child the nigger word? It is my own business.
So, we now know what the premise is here. She called a child a name, a racial slur, and this man is like, it's my business. Now, I'm not at this park, at this playground, but I'm assuming that she was there and was observant enough to tell whether or not this man was affiliated with this child in any way. And this man obviously overheard her saying, oh, the word that shall not be spoken, that doesn't have any power except that people give it power for whatever stupid reason. If you stopped caring about that word, guess what would happen? It would go away. Nobody would say it anymore because it would have no power. But anyway, let's see what else is going on here.
Call him a nigger? Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again?
You nigger.
Okay.
I absolutely love this. Not because she's using a racial slur. I'm not a monster. I don't think that anybody should be calling anybody else names. But he totally thought he had her dead to rights. He's like, you're not going to say that. You're just a little bitch. Ha 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 ha. And then she just said it 3 times, actually 4 times, right to his face. Because she knows that she has the freedom of speech in this country to say these things. There should be 0 consequences to her saying these things. And as I already stated, stop being offended by it, and guess what happens? No more word. You know, do you know what jaywalking means? It means crossing the street when you're not at the corner, right? What a terrible insult, a jaywalker. Ugh. Jay used to be a terrible thing to call somebody in this country. Not anymore. Nobody calls anybody Jay unless that's their name. You don't call anybody Ed J because we don't use it as an insult anymore because it doesn't carry any power. It doesn't carry any weight. Do the same thing with the N-word.
All right, that's what you say.
You'll go digging through people's shit, you dumb.
Nobody dig into your shit.
A little kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him a nigger?
Yeah.
The little child?
What if he acts like one, he's gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child, 5-year-old, and the N-word.
Well, I mean, what a terrible thing to do. Call somebody a racial slur when they were robbing you. What the hell? Those 2 things do not equate, okay? One is just like an annoyance because you think it is. And the other one is actual damaging to the person who stuff you're taking. And where the hell does this guy get off? This woman is probably thinking, I don't know, I can't read minds. I wish I could. I would be a god unto men if I could. This woman is probably thinking, like, who the hell does this guy think he is coming here to my country and telling me how to act and defending people that are harming me? Look, if I move to another country, I'm going to consider myself a guest in that country, even if I have citizenship. I'm going to be like, these people are letting me stay here out of the kindness of their hearts. I need to respect them. So you conduct yourself in a way that is polite. Obviously, you don't want to be walked all over, but you're just going to have to be like, look, okay, this is what she did. I don't know the situation. Oh, she said, oh, this kid stole from her? Okay, well, all right, maybe she was frustrated and is allowed to say these things in this country. And I'm not from here. They let me stay here and enjoy the freedoms that I have in this country and the security that I have in this country because we're going to get to where this guy comes from in a little bit. So maybe I'll just let that go and not make it any of my business. But nope, he has to be a dumbass.
If that's what he's gonna act
That's
like.
what you're going to call him.
That's what he's gonna act like.
You know, that's a hate speech. And you can be recorded for that.
I don't give a shit.
Huh.
Stop.
Okay, we'll see about that, what the internet has to say about you.
So it's hate speech. Who would have thought it's hate speech? Oh, jeez, what a terrible thing. What a terrible, terrible thing. We don't have hate speech in the United States. You can call it hate speech all you want to. You can say it's a hate crime all you want to. And this lady is exercising her First Amendment rights. She has every right to do so. Do I agree with her? No, I don't think you should be doing that. I don't think you should be calling anybody names. But then again, I'm not her. So she's allowed to do what she wants to do. Now, I can see that she has tattoos on her arm, so therefore she is a freak. She appears to be a single mother, so therefore she's doubly a freak. But we're going to get into this even deeper now and see how much of a freak this lady actually is and what's going on here with this guy recording the situation and why people are standing up and saying no more. So we have some information here on the Give, Send, Go from Shiloh. That's the name of the lady in the video. She says, help me protect my family. Hello, my name is Shiloh, and I have been put into a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was, another man who we recently found out has had a history with law enforcement, proceeded to record me and follow me to my car. He then posted these videos online, which has caused my family and myself great turmoil. My SSN has been leaked. My address and phone number have been given out freely. My family members are being attacked. Okay, her eldest son might not be going back to school. There's a lot of problems here. And if you look over here, this is on Twitter. So if you look over here, we can see this image of a woman, a white woman on a bicycle. And it says, if we white people are so awful, why do you keep moving to our neighborhoods? Yeah. People are saying this is a race war, right? They're saying this is the beginning of the race war. They're saying this is a response to the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf incident, where Anthony's basically getting off for ending the life of this other young man. And they're doing everything they can to say that it's the fault of the white child and not the fault of the black child. I wasn't there. I don't know. But, you know, if you commit the crime, you got to do the time. And your race has no bearing on that. I see, if you go on Twitter, if you guys are not on Twitter, go on Twitter and, it is just like post after post after post after post after post you can find of race-based violence. And it is usually, almost always, black people attacking white people for the color of their skin. It does happen the other way around. I'm not saying it doesn't. But, you know, this country said, hey, look, we understand you're human, just like us, so we're going to give you equal rights, just like us. Cool. Was it good enough? I don't know why there's so much violence and so much crime committed by black people. But there is. Look at the FBI statistics. And that's just the way it is. It's like white people said, you know what? We are being stupid. We are being wrong. We are being unfair here. You guys have equality. And then what happens? Most of the crime is committed by people with darker skin in this country. I'm not saying I like that. I'm not saying, look, so funny, or look, it's not us. I'm just saying that's just the way that it is. I don't know what else to say. That's how it is. And so I want everybody to be happy and healthy, have wonderful lives of joy and accomplishment. But that does not seem to be what's happening in this country in the last 2 decades. Things are falling off very quickly. We're seeing too much friction, too much opposition to just goodness and normalcy. Just like, look, take care of your kids, go to work, contribute to civilization and society, and hopefully we can all get along. None of us are getting out of this alive. I don't care if they cured aging tomorrow. None of us are getting out of this alive. Now, I want to talk about Shiloh a little bit more here. I want to take a look at her Give, Send, Go. But Shiloh's Give, Send, Go is, according to this post, whenever this was posted, $479,000. There's a lot of people out there that agree with her and disagree with the doxing that she has received. It appears to me, though, that Shiloh has no wedding ring on her finger, and she has 2 children. So she's a triple freak. I don't think that she should have been harmed for saying words, unless, of course, those words were vicious lies or something like that, slander, libel. But just for an insult, okay, she doesn't deserve to be punished for that. If you're going to punish her for nothing that she did wrong, then she needs to be compensated for that. Now, I think all women who are irresponsible moms should be punished. And by irresponsible moms, I mean she doesn't have a father in these kids' lives, does she? Because think about what she could do with her kids to keep them safe. Go live with dad for a while. Go live with dad for years, if you have to. If she wants to keep her kids safe, where's dad? So she is not an angel in this by any stretch. She's contributing to the problems of our civilization. But this era of woke nonsense, where white people are just automatically evil and black people can do no wrong, I could share so many videos with you where this is the case. Here's one quick example.
All white people are racist. So I put this up because I really want any white person in the room to know up front that this is what we're dealing with, that it's not going to be this coddling of white tears and what that looks like. We're not going to discuss, maybe some of us have worked it out. No, you're always going to be racist, actually. So even when you're on your path to trying to figure out how to be a better human being, because I believe that white people are born into not being human, like that actually instead of people of color and black folks being dehumanized, that actually everyone is dehumanized off rip within white supremacy, that y'all are born into a life to not be human, and that's what y'all are taught to do, to be demons. So in this particular way, white people are all racist. So I just want y'all to know that up front.
Sure, you remember that from a few years ago. But if you look over here, we have Cash Out XT says, the era of white guilt has come to an end. Yeah, so I never had white guilt. I never thought I was a bad guy because I'm white. Doesn't make any sense. I'm evil just because I'm white. Typically, if I'm going to do something that people would frown upon, it's because I've been pushed to an extreme situation, extreme position. So, yeah, don't hurt people. Don't play these racist games where, we have white guilt. Oh, I'm white, and therefore I'm guilty of being a bad person. Shiloh gets it. She's like, I'm not a bad person because I'm white. What's all this talk about white people being bad, or being evil, being wrong? She has 2 white babies. Do you think that she thinks they're evil because they're white? Ridiculous. You're going to play these cards. You're going to play these games. People are going to start pushing back more and more and more because we see too many times people who are not white are getting away with the race card. And we're getting fed up with it. Getting totally fed up with it. I mean, my channel started because of this. Because I was tired of being told I'm an evil white man. No, I'm not. All right, so we got Kangmin Lee here from Twitter. And he says, I'm not worried about white moms dropping N-bombs. I'm worried about Somali sex offenders walking around playgrounds without being behind bars or deported. Oh, Kangmin Lee, you had me. You almost had me there until you said behind bars or deported. Not enough of the X word in that statement. Although you can get banned off Twitter, by the way. So asking for capital punishment might be a bit much, even for Twitter. So this guy's name is Muhammad Hussein Omar, and the other guy is Sharmaik Bile Omar, Olmsted County Adult Detention Center. ABC 6 News, 2 Rochester men will appear in court May 5 on joint charges of 3rd and 5th degree criminal S conduct after being accused of violating a 16-year-old after offering her a place to stay. Muhammad Hussein Omar, 42, and Sharmaik Bile Omar, 30, may receive a joint trial for their identical charges of 3rd degree criminal S conduct, penetration of a person under 18 years old, uses coercion, and 5th degree criminal S conduct, non-consensual penetration. So, these men, at least one of them, was on a playground where there are children. If he's on the registry, which, I mean, he probably has to go to trial first and be convicted to get on the registry, but he's not allowed to go near a playground. That's illegal. If he is actually the person who's convicted of this crime, who's accused of this crime, end him. I don't want to. These people need a wood chipper. That's the only language I understand. Now, supposedly, this is his response to these charges, even though I see nothing here to indicate that this is actually Mohammed Hussein Omar. It just says Harer. Okay, is that him or not? I don't know. Somebody asked, hey, just curious, why did a 16-year-old accuse you of picking her up at a Rochester Quick Trip after she ran away from home and after you brought her back to your house, then accused you of violating her? He says, when she went back to her foster home, she wanted to play the victim card so attention could not get into trouble. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, but all right. So she said she was assaulted, later admitted after she ruined our lives. Okay, well, he left a lot out there, but I'm assuming that what he's saying is she lied about it, and she did so she wouldn't get in trouble, and then later admitted that she lied after we got in trouble for doing nothing. But you know just as well as I do that 30-year-old men, 42-year-old men are attracted to 16-year-old girls. That's no secret. It's no mystery. I can tell you a story about my buddy Dan years ago. He had a daughter who was 16. Not a bad-looking girl. He wanted me to date her. He introduced me to her. He wanted us to be together. Now, I was 18 at the time. So, in Illinois, that's not a crime. 16 and 18 is not a crime because of the age difference isn't big enough, even though I was an adult. But the age difference wouldn't have been big enough because if you're an adult, it has to be within, I don't know, like 4 years or more, something like that, of the other person. So if you're like 21 and 17, I think is a cutoff. I don't know. I'd have to look into the law. I don't remember though. It's not that important because I hardly ever dated when I was that age. So anyway, I was an idiot, 18-year-old who didn't know how to date. So she was turned off by me, understandably so. But it was probably a good thing because she was a troubled child. He didn't know he had, partial custody of her, and she lived in a different state, and he was a traveling interstate truck driver. So he didn't see her as often as he would have liked to, and to understand all these situations that she had been put into, which were not good for her psyche. But anyway, since she wasn't interested in me, she started spending time with a 32-year-old man. My buddy Dan, he was pissed. What are you doing with this 32? You're hanging out with an adult. You're going into bars when you're not even legal. This and that. And the other thing, he's really mad about it. So the point being, though, 30-year-old men, 32-year-old men in this case, are interested in 16-year-old girls. It's not a mystery to anyone with half a brain. Anyway, that's all I got for this time. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.